one last thing. A lot of people were saying that Tulsi voted for the defense budget, and that is just not the case. And the reason I'm putting this in there is because all of this ties together, because the more money we give to the military industrial complex, the more money they have to continue giving to Israel and continue going into destabilizing them. So that just wasn't the case. She was not actually even present, but the vote was voted on months ago. So this was done. What actually happened was an economic, like a kind of budget bill. So the All Actions HR 3877 was passed this past week on 7/25. That isn't the National Defense Act. This is as part of the Appropriations Authorizations Bill. And this is more of like the budget section that people voted on. There was multiple roll calls, one with AOC, different ones with other people. Tulsi Gabbard included the Stop Arming Terrorist Act. Most Democrats voted for the actual in this budget. But it's a really big deal that Tulsi Gabbard included the Stop Arming Terrorists Act in the budget because, and here we have where you can see AOC and Tulsi both voted for it. The Stop Arming Terrorists Act is something that she's been working on for a long time. And I'll talk in a minute like about what that actually does. But you can see here that she did not vote for it. She wasn't there, but she didn't vote for the federal year FY20 NDAA because she wasn't present. It was voted on previously on 7/11 and passed in the House and will go to the Senate now. AOC voted just like Tulsi, but was there, so she voted no on the NDAA, on the national defense. So a lot of people are saying that AOC voted for it. That's not the case. She didn't vote for it either. She voted for the budget, but she didn't vote for the specific Defense Authorizations Act. So that's two completely different things that, again, people are getting mixed up, that it just isn't the case. And we need to stop doing that. We need to stop reading something and being like, oh my God, I can't believe so-and-so voted for this. I'm canceling them. And I'm not trying to defend people here. I'm giving you what actually happened because there's like a lot of emotions going around, and understandably so, like I said, but we need to make sure that our emotions, like we're targeting things with logic and we're understanding things, because they do this really quickly and all of this moves quickly, and it's not sexy to look at bills and legislation, but some of us are going to have to do it because there's a lot of misinformation out there that can effectively ruin the things that we're trying to accomplish and, ruin like how we talk to Congress people. So let's go over what it does really quickly. The National Defense Authorization Act of this year, 2020, that is in itself was included. That was something that neither AOC and Tulsi voted for, but it was something that the majority of Democrats, of course, passed. Now, this thing is passed in two stages: the appropriations and authorizations. And this is an authorization bill, which directs how federal funds should or should not be used. It does not set overall spending limits, however, which are the subject of appropriations bills. Authorizations are typically made for a single fiscal year, October 1st through September 30th of the next year, but are often renewed in subsequent laws. So the totals for voting were 51 aye, 45% no, and it was 220 votes to 197 votes. So what good is this? So Tulsi Gabbard included the Stop Arming Terrorists Act in the budget for the NDAA. What that does, it includes this inclusion of a provision in this NDAA that was passed early this morning, which will prohibit the use of taxpayer funds to provide weapons of any form to support Al-Qaeda. So this is from June 13th, 2019. The Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, Jabhat Fateh al-Sham, any individual or group associated with these organizations or any entity the Secretary of Defense determines may trade or sell arms to terrorist organizations. So she's secure the Stop Arming Terrorists Act. So in this act, she's basically also outlining anybody that could be seen as a terrorist. It doesn't necessarily say specifically who, but it could be Al-Qaeda and Islamic State, any individual group associated with any of these terrorist organizations. And it's actually good because it actually has a statement that gives us a little bit more control. So here's a little bit of the breakdown of what it does. It's a statement that nothing in the bill, underlying or in future amendment, shall be misconstrued as an authorization to use military force against Iran or Venezuela. So this stops us from using excuses to go into Iran and Venezuela and go and start another regime change wars. No more presidential wars. Basically making it an impeachable offense to unilaterally start a war without the authorization of Congress. Stop Arming Terrorist Act also has no DoD funds that can be used to indirectly to terrorist groups and provide any entity that provides support to these terrorist groups. Like I said, it limits the use of low-yield nuclear weapons. It implements a no first use policy. More DoD and Office of the Director of National Intelligence Transparency on civilian casualties on targeted attacks through reports to Congress and the American people. A 3.1% tax raise, a 3.1% raise, for service members. This is a really big one for Tulsi that she managed to get in there because she doesn't want to vote on something that is looked on like she's literally not supporting veterans, not supporting the troops. So this budget, not the budget, but the National Defense Authorization Act was going to pass anyway. And including her own budget and her own things in it is at least securing the positive aspects in this whole negative thing, because again, with our Senate and our Congress, the majority of them being Republican, and a lot of them being spineless Democrats, these things are going to pass anyway. So she's at least trying to implement something good, and that kind of prevents some of the abuses that can happen from passing such an act. The Tenants' Bill of Rights improves the quality of housing for them as well and increases funding for education. So again, I kind of just wanted to point that out because a lot of people are saying that AOC voted for, that Tulsi voted for the defense budget, and they didn't vote for the defense budget. What they voted for were authorizations and budget proposals that were actually going to be part of it. And that's what they voted for. And we need to be more familiar with how this process goes. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, just kind of recap on the whole thing. There is a riddle to the House Resolution 246. So the resolutions are often worded in a way that it's designed to entrap us and entrap congressional representatives between two hard places, right? A rock and a hard place. And it's going to create and foster arguments and division among people in the U.S. And then that's exactly what happened with H.R. 246. So each of the 17 members of Congress that voted against H.R. 246 did so for their own unique reasons. Likely they opposed certain aspects of the bill, which obviously we went over, they did, regarding BDS. And then in opposing this bill, they may have put themselves on record as being opposed to a number of things that are obviously going to come back to haunt them. A lot of people are upset at Tulsi for this. Again, I outlined, what I think she should have done, which was abstained. Same with Ro Khanna, same with Presley, but I can understand why they voted for that non-binding resolution. Ro Khanna, on the other hand, actually voted for the 1837, which was giving money and endless help to Israel, which is something he's going to have to answer to, especially working with Bernie Sanders. A lot of people are saying he shouldn't even be in that campaign anymore after this vote. Is a very, very bad move to make, and he's going to have to do some explaining. He explained HR 246, but he has yet to explain HR 1837. So in reality, even though HR 246 does not have the force of law, and even though it accomplished absolutely nothing of benefit to the people of the United States, to a lot of people, it was a poison pill that members of Congress were forced to swallow. So we need to stop allowing politicians to waste our time and money passing useless resolutions that only seek to divide and weaken everyday citizens of the United States. Because again, a lot of people got angry over this. A lot of people were divided over this, and it really was completely useless because 1837 is really where it was at. And this is actually, a lot of this is from what someone posted called the answer to the riddle of House Resolution 246. It is a text that people are sending out to make sure we stand up to politicians and tell them, like, you guys need to stop doing this because it's confusing and it's dividing the people up. And we need to resolve to see through the political games and come together to work towards solutions that will benefit those in need. Because if we continue to allow ourselves to be divided, we will surely crumble. And this is just, again, like a petition that people have laid out to just kind of like stop, like halt and stop reacting and getting divided over things that we don't even understand. And that's why we have to sit down and talk about them and break them down and understand them. And ultimately, like I said, I believe after reading everything, after having everything, BDS is definitely still, to me, the solution to actually have a fair justice towards the Palestinian people. Ideally, that is the solution that I advocate. However, realistically, in our Congress, that's not going to happen anytime soon. So we need to do what we can to secure protections for the Palestinian people while we can, because it's just not. I mean, with the Congress we have, it's just not going to happen. And we need to continue pushing people who are our lead progressives running for president and those we elect into Congress to actually listen to what BDS is, to actually listen to what people are asking for, instead of assuming, instead of actually saying things that aren't just, that aren't real. Because BDS isn't advocating to eliminate Israel from existence. It's not advocating one solution or a two-state solution. It's simply advocating to restore rights to the Palestinian people. And we should question our congresspeople when they aren't doing their job. Maybe they're not informed enough. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is they should be and they need to be. And we need to hold them accountable to it. What we don't need to do is conflate things and pretend that some people aren't for it and some people are for it, depending on who we like and who we don't like. We need to have all the facts straight and stop dividing ourselves over opinions that are ill-informed, and stop conflating opinions with facts. So basically that's it, you guys. I kind of wanted to go over that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. CONVO out.